Hello. I'm Martin Margulies. I live on Key Biscayne. I'm fairly active in the Overtown community. Tracy and Alonzo Mourning and myself developed the Overtown Youth Center, which the city owns, and gave us the property to do that. Services hundreds of kids after school. And I'm also very active in the Optimist Football League, servicing 420 kids, and also the Lotus House, a homeless shelter for 50 women and 16 infants. But I didn't come here to boast about what I've done. I read in the newspaper about St. Albans, so I decided to look at it. It's a very impressive school. You must not let it fail. You must not let it close. Where are those kids going to go? They can't go to public school because they're underage. The kids, the parents are struggling to make a living so their kids can have a life. I went to that school. It's clean. They take meals. They take good care of the children. There's 120 years combined of service to that school. You can't buy that. This is a facility that must be saved. This is your legacy. You cannot let it fail. Otherwise, it will be something that you will be responsible for. The federal government has given over $1 million. The state has given money. The county has given money. And on the low end of the totem pole is the city of Miami. We cannot be a great city unless we take care of kids. We are now the poorest large city in the United States. You can build tunnels. You can build stadiums. You can build anything. But without the kids, you're kidding yourself. It's not a great city unless you take care of these kids. Thank you. Oh, by the way, to make things easy for you, the request was $250,000, and I will pledge $50,000 a year for 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sarnoff?
Yeah, just so you know, Commissioner Regalado, that both the mayor, the city manager, and myself went out there last Friday. We approached the Children's Trust. Unfortunately, the Children's Trust was not amenable to, I guess we don't fit the right shoe for them. And I want to thank Mr. Margulies, and I understand he's very generous, and I wish there were 20 others like him. So what I've done is I've actually met with Tibor Hollow and other philanthropic people in the city of Miami, and we are going to attempt to create an endowment for this organization. In the interim, what I did was I did secure $50,000 to prevent their doors from closing within the past 2 weeks, and I know that Mr. Margulies had made a sizable $10,000 donation followed by his $50,000 donation, and I don't think there's an imperative that the doors will close in the next 30 or 60, 90 days. I think we've got to get real to some extent, and I think the private sector needs to step up. And when Mr. Margulies addressed me in the Miami Herald, and if you should ever need my address at City Hall, I'd be glad to give it to you. But you did address me in the Miami Herald. I did step up, and I am stepping up. And I'm going to the most philanthropic people in the city of Miami, and I am trying to secure from them. You know, I know I could raise $100,000. That's not the issue. The issue is, how do I create a sustainable environment for the next 15 years? One that you, sir, would be proud of and I would be proud of, that a legacy would be built upon. Unfortunately, legacies are not built in 10 days. It's going to take a little bit of time. Now, I may not be the greatest at city government, but I do understand charitable donations, and I do understand how philanthropic people work. And that is the means that I'm going to try to work to resolve this issue once and for all by providing an endowment for them so that they can govern their own course. As far as going to the Children's Trust, Commissioner Regalado, if you know a way of doing it other than the mayor and myself tried, you might know something I don't. The United Way...
I know, just I know that they have elections in August 26th of this year, and that election in Miami-Dade County will decide whether or not they close their doors and not charge any more of your taxes on mine, or to become a permanent agency in Miami-Dade County.
Correct.
That I know. I know that they have done polls. I know that 5 years ago, only 6% of the population knew of the Children's Trust. Now, it's only 42%. I know that they need 51% to succeed. And because I know that, now is the time to lobby them. August 29, it will be too late. But before.
Then I will more than be glad, and I think that the folks at St. Albans will be more than happy, and I'd be more than glad to attend any meeting you have. I want you to know that we tried that route. I want you to know that United Way recently cut them in half, and this city is a big contributor to United Way, and I want you to know that the mayor is actually working with the city manager on trying to get their funding back to full level. Now, on a more grandiose idea, I did get the mayor, the city manager out there, and we did look at an opportunity here, which is the opportunity that right across the street from them happens to be the barnyard. And if you know anything about Village West or West Grove, it is how an entire society has raised its children. From 0 to 3, they essentially don't get funded. Out of their good graces, they take care of the infants. From 3 to 5, they fund themselves with Head Start. From 5 to probably about 9 or 10 years old, the kids go to school. And then the after-school program is the barnyard. And if you've never been to the barnyard, it's probably one of the most magnificent places in all of Coconut Grove, and I would suggest to you, the city of Miami, to see just how much fun kids can have and see how little they have fun with. And the last time that place had a renovation was by NBC in New York City about 10 or 15 years ago when they built the basketball court. Both places are directly across the street from each other. And if you just think, if we just did a little bit of master planning, and I actually emailed the city manager on this, and I said, what if we were to take down all the fences and treat this as a campus and suggest that it's really not about St. Albans and it's really not about the barnyard, but it is a campus on how an entire segment of Miami has raised their children. And I think the city manager, and I hope he was very receptive to that idea. I know he was very interested. And I think what we have is an opportunity here to create a campus. Now, I'm trying to look at this from a very large standpoint, not from a small standpoint. I know that we can keep your doors open. I know I could raise enough money so I could walk out of here and say, I know for the next year you're fine. But it's not about next year. It's about
Commissioner Sarnoff, is that a challenge for us all to try to do the same?
I'm not sure I follow.
Meaning, I think that you're actually issuing a challenge, which I think is a great idea. If you're willing to do that and you stepped up to the plate to do that, I'd like to join your challenge to help you raise the same. So whatever you do on your end, and I would like to appeal to my other commissioners, I think that, you know, if you're willing to go to people that have had an interest in supporting, I'm willing to go, even though it's not in my district and it's in the West Grove, I do understand how important it is to support the school. I will be willing to join my efforts with you, and maybe perhaps we can do something almost immediately to help raise money for St. Albans, because I think that's what their issue is right. I'm sure you know that. They just need dollars right now.
Well, I don't think they're in the dire straits of right now. And the easiest thing I could have done, Commissioner Spence-Jones, would have been to have a fundraiser. I would have satisfied a lot of people. I believe I would have raised the $67,000 that they need to pay off on a debt as a result of moving their pension funds and using them on a summer program. I believe I could have raised them another $35,000 and felt pretty good about myself. But I'm moving a little more slow.